Could Samsung actually stay ahead of Apple in foldable phones even when Apple finally joins the race? That's the big question. For years, people have wondered what a foldable iPhone would look like, and now it's starting to sound real. Reports say Apple is finally getting close to launching one, possibly by the end of 2026. But while Apple is still testing its first foldable phone, Samsung is already deep into this game. By the time Apple launches its first foldable, Samsung will likely already be on its Galaxy Z Fold 8. And based on what we know so far, Samsung might still lead the way in three very important areas: screen size, camera power, and everyday usability. Let's start with what Apple is working on. According to leaks from a well-known tipster in China, Apple's foldable iPhone is still in its testing stage. The device is expected to have a 7.58-inch foldable display to 48-megapixel cameras on the back, a body made of titanium, and a strong hinge made from composite material and amorphous metallic glass. That sounds pretty fancy, but Samsung's Galaxy Z Fold 8 could still have some serious advantages when you look closer. First, let's talk about screen size. Bigger screens matter, especially when it comes to foldable phones, because one of their main selling points is how much display space you get once it's opened up. Samsung already leads in this area. The upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 7, which is expected to launch in 2025, reportedly has an 8-inch inner screen. That's already larger than Apple's rumored 7.58-inch panel. Even if Apple ends up going with the other rumored size of 7.8 inches, Samsung still holds the edge. So if you care about screen size for watching videos, reading, or multitasking, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 will likely offer more room to do all that. Second, cameras. The foldable iPhone is expected to come with two 48-megapixel cameras. That's not bad, but it also means Apple may be skipping a telephoto lens, which helps you zoom without losing detail. On the other hand, Samsung's foldables are already packing serious camera hardware. The Galaxy Z Fold 7 is expected to have a 200-megapixel main camera, a 12-megapixel ultra-wide lens, and a 10-megapixel telephoto lens. That kind of setup gives you more shooting options, and if Samsung decides to upgrade the ultra-wide or telephoto cameras on the Z Fold 8 to 50 megapixels, it will only widen the gap. So when it comes to camera flexibility and photo quality, Samsung could easily have the upper hand. Now, let's look at something that matters just as much as specs: how easy the phone is to use. What would you say if Apple completely changed how the iPhone looks, especially the camera? Well, that's exactly what might be happening with the iPhone 17 Pro. And thanks to a new leak, we've got a closer look at the changes. A known tipster named Majin just posted some new images that show what appears to be a dummy unit of the iPhone 17 Pro in a deep black color, darker than even the iPhone 16 Pro's black titanium. What immediately grabs attention is the new camera bar that stretches across the top of the back. Instead of the usual square camera bump, this one has individual circular camera rings spaced out more like the cameras on a Google Pixel. On the far right, you can also spot the LED flash and the light detection and ranging sensor, which are tucked into the bar's edge. So far, it looks like Apple is borrowing a few design ideas from the Pixel playbook, and that could mean a big shift in how future iPhones will look and feel. Another leaked image shows the camera bar from the side, which gives us a better sense of how far it sticks out from the rest of the phone's body. Not only does the bar seem thicker, but the camera rings also stick out even more than before. This could hint at better camera hardware, possibly with upgraded lenses or sensors. But on the flip side, it might make the phone a bit harder to carry in your pocket or hold comfortably without a case. Along with the Pro model, Majin also shared pictures of what might be a dummy unit of the iPhone 17 Air, another version that hasn't been confirmed yet but has popped up in earlier leaks. This version also comes in black, but the camera bar is thinner and more minimal. Instead of 3 lenses, there's only one rear camera. That likely means the iPhone 17 Air will be a budget-friendly option, built for people who don't need a complicated camera setup, just want a solid phone that works. On top of that, there's one more leaked image that shows what seems to be the entire iPhone 17 lineup Pro, Air, and maybe the base model lined up side by side. These phones aren't black like the others, they appear in a white or stone-like color that looks clean and modern. While these dummy units might not be based on the final version, they do match up with what we've been hearing from other leaks. Majin Buu's history is a mix of accurate and off-the-mark tips, so it's smart to stay a bit cautious. But the fact that multiple sources are now showing the same design style gives us more reason to believe that Apple could actually go ahead with it. If this design does make it into the final release, it could change the way we think about iPhone aesthetics. Some users might love the new look, especially if it helps the phone stand out in a crowded market. What if Samsung's next foldable phone is not just another refresh, but a major turning point for the company? Well, that might just be the case with the Galaxy Z Flip 7 and its more affordable sibling, the Galaxy Z Flip 7 FE. Just recently, reliable leaker Evan Blass shared renders of both devices, showing off their colors and designs. The regular Galaxy Z Flip 7 is expected to look very similar to the Flip 6, but there are some small changes. It will come in 3 colors: jet black, coral red, and blue shadow. Under the hood, the biggest change is the processor. Instead of a Qualcomm Snapdragon chip, Samsung is using its own in-house Exynos 2500 processor. This is a big move because Samsung originally planned to launch this 3nm chip in the Galaxy S25 series. But it wasn't ready in time, so now, the Flip 7 becomes the first phone to test it out. That's a bold decision because people will now judge how good or bad this new chip is based on the performance of the Flip 7. If it's smooth and fast, it could build trust for the next Exynos chip, the 2nm Exynos 2600, expected in the Galaxy S26. On the other hand, if the Flip 7 struggles, it might turn users away from Exynos once again. Now let's talk about the Galaxy Z Flip 7 FE. This is the first time Samsung is adding an FE or Fan Edition version to its foldables. It's basically a more budget-friendly foldable phone that looks a lot like the Flip 6. The hardware will mostly be the same as the older model, and it will probably use an older Exynos chip too. But Samsung promises better software support than its previous foldables, which could make a big difference over time. The Flip 7 FE will be available in black and white colors, simple but clean. This move clearly shows Samsung is trying to cut back on its reliance on Qualcomm Snapdragon chips, which are usually more expensive. Instead, they want to use their own processors, which could save money in the long run and give them more control. But there's always a risk when you change something people already trust. Some people are already asking, should Samsung have used a Snapdragon chip instead? Some say yes, others say the average user won't notice the difference anyway. And maybe that's true. Most people just want their phone to work well, take good photos, and last a full day on a single charge. Speaking of features, we can't ignore the Galaxy Z Fold 7, which is launching alongside the Flip 7 and Flip 7 FE. While it's not the focus here, it's worth mentioning that the Fold 7 has made some real progress.